This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. We are in such an interesting place in gaming that I honestly sometimes don't even know what's going to be headed our way. One minute we are getting the latest and greatest graphically from the AAA industry, where the indie side of things is both making better efforts with new games infused with our nostalgia, along with producing the most creativity. Old is the new now, in many cases. Even with all these remakes and remasters, I still find myself longing for more games from the past, and rather either making them more accessible to be able to access them more easily now, or just games of that type. Something I greatly miss are just action titles. You know, your Ninja Gaidens, old school God of War, Devil May Cry, that kind of stuff. The industry has kind of moved away from these, especially within the big AAA space. There was one that I had my eye on way back in the day, when I would watch previews on game trailers. There was a new action game called Captain Blood. It looked really good, and after the preview, I really wanted to try it. Sadly, the game got cancelled, so I was never able to play it. Oddly enough, the game is coming out later this year. The game is being finished and now we're able to play it, and I had the opportunity to try the demo. And you know what? It's pretty good. Now in the introduction, I mentioned old school God of War. This game very much feels like a God of War type game within a pirate setting. As a side tangent, I miss the old school God of War games. Those games were great games, and they were just generally very fun. I have not liked the direction they have taken with that series, but more related to Captain Blood, I think that is where I find myself finding a game like this, playing it now, having it feel kinda refreshing. Yeah, this is essentially a 360 game being finished and released now, and in many ways this is exactly what I needed. I greatly miss stuff like this, dishing out combos, slaughtering a lot of enemies, throwing occasional gameplay variation, and then getting to the next area to fight all the enemies coming at you. The game even features some QuickTime event sequences, and while I'm not a big fan of these, they kinda do fit here, especially with this game wearing its God of War influences on its sleeve. So for the demo, it appears to just be the opening sections of the game. There's a few things that I just love about Captain Blood. For one, the game does deliver most of its opening level with hints and tutorial-like things, so that the player can get caught up to speed on how the game is played. But this is done in a manner that is effective and oddly enough does not distract from the action itself. Once the game gives the player control, outside of the occasional cutscene, you get a quick hint on a new move and then back into the action. I really appreciate how the game respects the player's time, and most importantly, as an opening, you spend a lot of it hacking and slashing at enemies, and just having a lot of fun with it. Tutorials can often be a place where a game's pacing goes to die, especially when they force them upon the player. When the player has to go through them, the game needs to either get creative with them, or provide them in such a manner that is quick and concise. Again, keep the player engaged and focused on the fun. A bad and overlong tutorial can greatly halt any momentum the beginning moments of the game can have on a player, and those opening moments are very important. Now sure, Captain Blood does have a longer set of cutscenes at the start. For one, they are pretty fun, and after that setup of the game's narrative, the player is in the game, playing and enjoying with minimal moments of being taken out of it to be able to experience the gameplay in long parts. Long story short, I really like how it is done here. Captain Blood is both really enjoyable and very familiar in the best possible way. This is an action game, so you need to hack and slash your way to victory. You'll try to increase your combo and then earn more gold so that you can earn more upgrades quickly. These can change from having more combos, executions, and even increasing your stats too, like your health. You have 2 attack buttons and can perform a set of combos at the start, and depending on what upgrades you choose first, you'll have more combos to dish out quickly. The sword slashes feel and sound good. I really like the generous amount of blood that the game dishes out, and it isn't afraid to have you lob off some heads as well. The sword isn't your only weapon either. You have a gun that you can whip out for a quick attack, and this is on a recharge. Grenades can be picked up and used to take out a group of enemies. And one thing I found really cool was how at set points you can pick up other fallen enemies' weapons. I got to play around with other swords, hatchets, along with much larger weapons, that when combined with a large amount of foes at times, I felt like I was in my own mini pirate Dynasty Warriors, because while using this big sword I picked up, enemies would be flying around as I hit them. You can also pick up another gun, and use this as a way to get some quick kills in it as well. This is a really cool system here, and while the weapon pickups do not last that long, I like the option, and I hope to see even more throughout the entire game. You have a rage bar that you build up to deal more damage and then take no damage for a short period of time. Executions can be performed on weakened foes, and it appears you can unlock more, adding more variety here. It would also seem that each enemy type has their own executions too. Now the bulk of the demo is you running around hacking and slashing at enemies. It's really good stuff. As defense, you can roll around, and this is done with the right stick. The player does not control the camera, and there is a block button as well. The fighting is both a feeling of being enjoyable and a little sloppy at times, especially since there is no form of an optional lock-on, at least not in the demo. Something else I found very refreshing was how linear the game was, or rather the demo was, with the camera not being in the player's control. This means that devs can hide stuff just outside the range of what you can see, and again, this means that you're going to miss stuff and you're going to want to explore some of the nooks and crannies. It would appear that you play as two different characters too. They have different weapons, and the second character had all of the quick time stuff as well. I do wonder how much of the game is split between these two characters, because it would appear that the second character does not have any form of upgrades, or maybe I missed that part, and it seems like he has less moves overall. I think the game is at its strongest, at least so far, when you're in control of the captain. As far as flaws or improvements are concerned, I think the game needs some better sound mixing, as it was hard to hear characters during some of the cutscenes. Along with this, there doesn't seem to be any form of a subtitle option. While I do not require this to enjoy my games, it's actually something that I turn on anytime I'm playing a game. It allows me to stay focused on the game's story, and the lines with all the noise going on in my house. I do hope that this is added on for the full release. As far as the rest of the game is, I wonder what other gameplay elements will be in store for the rest of the game. Will we get to control a pirate ship at any point? How much of the game is spent controlling the captain versus the other character? How linear is the rest of the game? Are there more open levels later on? I have no idea, but there is one thing that I know, is that I really liked what I played. Captain Blood was originally a game that I was looking forward to years ago. It had a good preview and was something that checked some of the boxes that I wanted. I really like action games as well, even when they take on an element from some of the bigger ones. Yes, this game might seem like a pirate-themed God of War, and I don't see that as a bad thing. Plus, if the game just ends up being a delightful 6-hour linear game, I really don't think I'm gonna have a problem with that. I don't know the release date of this title, but I would really love the opportunity to check out the full game when it comes out. It's really cool we're seeing this game completed and put out today. Again, if you're looking for a 360 type action game, but a new one released now, then keep an eye out for this. Were you interested in Captain Blood when it was originally shown? Have you tried the demo? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.